Hello, everybody. All right. Thanks for joining me at 3 o'clock p.m. I don't know about you, but I had a massive panic attack just about 5 minutes ago when I realized that I had messed up the links to join the live stream. And so I had to quickly fix the YouTube link. But unfortunately, Facebook doesn't allow me to change links less than 10 minutes. So everyone's going to be on YouTube tonight. So sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm glad you all found me, though. That's awesome. So I've set up, I don't know how many of these live streams, a couple hundred maybe. And that's the first time I've ever messed that up. So, all right, always a first time for everything. But welcome, everyone, to this jumbo-sized paint pouring demo. Normally, I go live every Friday at 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. But today we're doing a double long extra demo because it's the acrylic pouring extravaganza. I'm so excited. So anyway, so we're gonna do two different paint pouring demos. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But I just want to say welcome to everyone who's joined me so far. Linda is here. Hey, Novala. Monique is here. Hello, Monique. And we have got another Linda. Hey, Linda. Lucas, thanks for joining us. And Sharon, awesome. So welcome, everybody. I think people might be trickling in a little late. I just sent out 2 emails, like back to back. One was late. Also, this is like a bad day for technical stuff. So the email that's supposed to go out an hour before our lives here in this special week didn't go out. So I had to send that out quickly. And then I sent another one with the right link. So, oh my gosh, what a mess. But I'm glad you found me. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So let's see here. So in case you didn't know yet, which I know most of you do, because I've got some members here, and I think I've got some new members here. Congratulations and welcome to the Pouring Studio. The Pouring Studio is officially open. So in case you were thinking about joining the membership, you're going to and become a gold member. I have named the new members gold members because they're super important because of this crazy huge bonus that you're getting. So welcome. And we're going to take a little look inside the membership, and I'm going to show you around a little bit where everything is. I think I might wait with that just a little bit because I'm sure more people will be joining us once they find the new link. And so, hey, Beth, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us. So let me show you the colors we're going to be working with first for our first pouring demo. And then I'll maybe give you a quick tour around the membership and what you're all getting if you decide to sign up and become a member. So, but before we do that, I'm going to flip the camera here and just show you what we'll be working with today. I got to move this out of the way first for a moment. Let me pull these over here. So let me show you this. So I'm going to flip the camera here. And we've got several different colors. I'm using all leftover paints, except for a base coat that I mixed special. But for both demos, I'm doing all leftover paints. I have a ton of them, but I've got all different types of colors. And I've got bright colors and dull colors and neutralized colors. We mixed this color just yesterday. But I've got some gold and I've got this bright aqua green. This is a yellow and orange mixture. These are all pretty bright colors. I've got some teal or turquoise here, and I've got some copper. It's like a coppery color right here. So I'm going to be doing some ribbon pours. It's a direct pour technique, the ribbon pour. I'm going to be doing a ribbon pour using the bright colors, and that should be fun. And then I'm going to be using some neutralized colors for our second demo, and I'm going to do a straight pour with that one. So I've got a ribbon pour for the first one and a straight pour for the second. These are all leftover paints. And I like to use leftover paints. I incorporate them into other paintings with new paints I mix up. But sometimes it's fun to just grab a bunch of different colors and throw them all together and see what happens. So I'll be doing some interesting stuff. A ribbon pour is really fun. And I'll show you that. I might do some manipulation with some tools and things. So it's going to be very cool. So I'm going to move these aside for the moment, and I'll show you what the second technique will be and the colors I'll be using. These are all neutralized colors. And I love working in neutral colors. I like to mix neutralized colors. I scrape up a lot of my leftover paint, and they make very neutralized colors. And so I like to use them together. This is a very, it's an interesting palette. I don't know if I'll use every single one of these colors, but I've got this very light color here. And this has actually got some cloud mixture in it, so that might create some cloudy effects. This is kind of a dark coppery bronze. I've got kind of a yellowy champagne gold, and I have a little more silvery champagne gold. This is kind of a weird purpley color. It's a bunch of different things all mixed up. This is kind of a relatively straightforward blue, kind of a neutralized blue. This is kind of a purplish black, and then a kind of a dark bronzy black color. So this will be the second pour, which will be a straight pour. And I'll just be using these all kind of randomly. They all kind of fit into a kind of a neutralized color scheme. That's why I kind of picked these. And so we'll be using those for the second demo. And then the first demo, we'll be using these brighter, colorful colors. So I have a colorful painting and then a little more subdued, neutralized painting. Should be fun. So, and I'm going to try out a new tool. I had this forever. I just found it. And this is used for sign making, for like vinyl signs. In an earlier life, I did some of that, but I was going to try this and spread out my base coat with it. I thought that might be a cool tool to use, so we'll give it a shot and see what happens. So I'm going to flip back now. Where'd my mouse go? Okay. All right. So before I get into all the painting, I wanted to walk you through the membership a little bit, give you a little behind the scenes tour. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And here we go. Let's see. And let's see, I need to do, okay, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen, and let me see if I can, let me get rid of this for the moment and switch it over here. There, that looks better. All right, so here is the Acrylic Pouring Academy website. This is just the home page of the website, and I'm going to log in here. So here's how you log in, by the way, if you become a member. Just click the little login button. I'm going to use an email. This is kind of a dummy account that I created. And so here we are on the home page of the Pouring Studio. And this is actually the community membership section of our membership. And so we have the Pouring Studio here. Over on the left-hand side, here is the home page. You could go over to the members area. There's even a search function now, so you can search for things. And right down here, we've got some different topics. And we've got a Start Here topic. That's a great topic for any new member to start with. So we have a Start Here section. I've got a little welcome to the Pouring Studio. And if you click on that, it'll open up the post. And here's a video. I think I have to update this video a little bit, but there are some steps you can go through watching this little welcome video. And I have a little overview video right here that shows you how to do some things in the membership. There's a little questionnaire that you can fill out. It's not mandatory, and it's anonymous. You're not putting your name on it, but it's just kind of asking about your experience and kind of what you're looking for to get out of the membership, any specific techniques you're wanting to learn. So just things like that. It's very simple and short, but it'll help me create a better membership for you. And then down here are the some ways you can reach me if you need any support or help. I've got 3 different methods that you can use to get a hold of me. So that is a little welcome section, and you can get back to the main Start Here section by clicking that. And then right down here we have a content calendar. This will be the all of the events that are coming up. And so I update this every Monday with the weekly events. And so you can just scroll through here. Right here is Acrylic. Here's the Extravaganza right here. And I've set it at 3 p.m. And I think I had the wrong links in here. Sorry about that, everybody. But so this is where everything is set. Here's the studio chat we had on Wednesday. Over here is the member artwork, and here's the member art show. You can submit your art show paintings here, or just share some artwork if you want to share it. Those are both great. And let me see. Let me go into the monthly art show and see who's in there. I think Pat posted something. Yeah, here's Pat's post for the April art show. She did a traveling ring pour. I love this painting. I use these colors all the time. I love this color palette. It's a great painting. So you can submit your paintings right here. It's super easy to post. If you just click on new post, you can just enter a title and then enter some kind of a description. You have to type something in there. And then don't click on this. This is for video. But right here, this little icon, if you click on that, you can open up a painting or any kind of image on your website. There's one that I made a little while ago. And then you can, right down here, if you click on done, you can, I got to add a title. So you got to add all that stuff. So I'm going to just click out of this, and it won't save it or anything. But that's how you do a post. Let me show you how to do it. So here's a title. Just let me do it the right way. And then here is here's my painting. That's totally, grammatically inaccurate and misspelled. But now you could publish it now if you wanted to. You could schedule it for later, or you could discard it. I think I'll discard that one. So, but that's how you make a post. It's super easy. And right down here are PDF resources. And this actually will take you to the PDF resource section. And I'll show you that in just a second. So here's a link that will take you right over to the PDF section. And then we've got weekly updates. And every week I send out an email every Monday to the members. And it has all the links and what we're going to be doing that week. And you can, if you don't get that email, you can always go here and check it out. Here's the update for Monday of this week. And if I click on that, here's everything we're going to be doing. Here are all the links to join all the lives. So I send that out every week, and it's an email that comes to you, but in case you miss it or lose it or something, you can always check it here. So I'm going to go back to the home page. So that is kind of a brief overview of the community. I've kind of, I just changed a lot of this. It used to be much more extensive. I really kind of pared it down, so it's just got the essentials. And now I'll show you where all the good stuff is, all the great content. And if you go up here, this is a products button right here. And if you click on this products, this will show you all the different products that you have access to. So right here is the acrylic pouring extravaganza. This is all the downloads that I've uploaded for you this week. You might have seen this in your products category. And then right here is the Fluid Art Foundations course. This is the brand new course I just created. And it's got 62 different individual lessons in this course. That's quite a bit. And then right down here is the Foolproof Pouring mini course. And you have access to this as well if you're a member. Plus every other course that I create in the future will all be, they'll all be in here. So you'll have access to all of them. But right here is the membership course, really. It's not really a course, but this is the way I like to categorize all of the membership content. So if we click the Pouring Studio, here is all of the membership content, all kind of neatly categorized for you so you can find it very easily. And I keep adding to this every single week, every single month, so it will continue to grow. And then I have to make a decision if I want to create maybe a second category, a Pouring Studio, or else have this just be really, really big. That will be a decision down the road a little bit, but here is all the printable PDF resources right here. So I have several different cheat sheets. If you click on the cheat sheets, here are 3 different versions of them right now, and you have access to all of those. Here are the paint mixing formulas. I have digital scale mixing guides. This is kind of a newer thing that I've just created. I have studio resources, color theory, handouts, all kinds of stuff. Right down here are some material links. So here's how you could get to my Amazon storefront. If you're interested in using any tools that I'm using, this is a simple way to get there. Here is a kind of a cool link. Here are the different paint brands and retailers that I purchase from. And so if you click on these, like here's Liquitex Basics. I use a lot of Liquitex Basics. If you click right here, it'll take you right to that Liquitex section on Blick.com or the Jerry's Artorama section. So it's a super fast way of getting right to the paints that you're interested in maybe purchasing. Here are some other paints that I like to use. Not quite as often, but I do use them. And let's see, right here, down here are some professional grade paints. Nova Color I really like a lot. And you can get them, they sell direct, so you have to go to novacolor.com. But this is just a handy way of jumping right into these retailers' sites, right to exactly what you're looking for to pick up the paints if you want to buy more. And some of these, I don't have affiliate links or anything like that with any of these. It's just super handy way of getting to what you're looking for. So that's kind of a handy little feature. So, and right down here are the monthly studio chats. And we talk about all kinds of different topics in our studio chat. And here are the 7 paint mixing pouring checklists. We have color theory fundamentals, finishing your paintings like varnishing or finishing the backs of your paintings, attaching hanging hardware, things like that. Here's how to apply Liquitex varnish. That's the varnish I use most often. How to apply a GamVar varnish, which is also a great varnish to use. It's not commonly used with acrylic pouring, but it works really, really well. We have a studio tour. We have measuring and mixing paints. We just did this one. Right down here is the mixing and matching colors. We just did that Wednesday. Preparing your wooden surfaces. I pour on panels all the time, and I talk about how to properly seal them and prep them with gesso. So there's tons of different things we cover in the studio chat. And then right down here are the different pouring topics or pouring techniques we've covered so far. We're working on the floating cup this month, and we've done the ring pour technique, the swipe, the cloud pour technique. We've done the flip cup technique, the Dutch pour, the straight pour, a whole bunch of techniques we've already covered. And we'll be working on the string pull / chain pull this coming month, which should be a whole lot of fun in May. So there's all these past videos that you can check out and watch. And don't worry though, because we'll probably be revisiting many of these in the future. It's hard to really master a technique in just 1 month or just with a few paintings. So things like the Dutch pour and the cloud pour, I'm sure we'll revisit those again in the future. And plus, there's a whole bunch of new techniques that we'll be working on. And then right down here, we have monthly Q&As. So these are where you can submit questions or ask questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So we have one of these every single month. And that is pretty much most of the content for the Pouring Studio membership. And let's see here. Let me go back quick. I'm going to go back over to products. And let me just show you what's inside the Fluid Art Foundations course. This is a course that comes with your membership, and we have a welcome to the course right here. And we've got a whole section on acrylic pouring supplies. I break it down by paints and surfaces, pouring mediums, essential supplies, optional supplies. We've talked about a lot of those earlier in this week. I'd show you my process for straining Floetrol, which is really, really important, and my inexpensive surface hack, which is awesome if you're just starting out and you want to do a lot of painting, but you don't want to spend a ton of money on canvases or other surfaces. This is a great way to do tons of painting for very, very, very cheaply. And it works really well too. It's great. Here are some videos on your pouring space, your studio, and how I kind of like to set up my studio. And right here is the paint mixing system. This is the full breakdown of exactly how I mix my paints, some special tools that I make called paint mixing guides. They're critically important to my painting. And I show you how to make them. And then we talk about consistency down here. And so there's a lot. There's some paint comparison tests. So there's a ton of stuff and knowledge in the paint mixing system. Then down here are a whole bunch of resources. A lot of these resources are the same that you'll find in the Pouring Studio membership. It's just another way to get some of them. And these are very pertinent to the course. So I wanted to provide them here. And then here are the 3 walkthrough techniques that I cover. We cover the flip cup technique. And I kind of walk you step by step from prepping your canvas, mixing your paints, picking your colors, all the way through doing a demo. And I show you exactly how to do it. And then this has got a special little version right here with a modified paint mixing formula that I really like. Right here is a ring pour technique, and I walk you, again, through the entire process from beginning to end. And then finally, the direct pour. And the direct pour is a little different because there's actually kind of 3 techniques in one of which happens to be the ribbon pour, which we're going to be doing today. I'll be doing a demo of a ribbon pour. So those are the 3 core techniques that I cover in the Fluid Art Foundations course. So, and then over here is a little, you click on my little face here, it won't be my face in your membership. It'll be a little icon, but we have the settings and billing and, things like that. So these little kind of admin area right there. So that is and then we can go back to the products. And then once again, these are where all of the new courses that will be coming out, you can find them. And then also the Foolproof Pouring Mini Course. That's a great course to go through if you're really new to paint pouring and you want to kind of test out doing some paintings with some more inexpensive paints and the glue. We talked about that formula earlier this week with the glue and the craft paint. This is the course that I designed to kind of walk you through the beginning steps of paint pouring. But everything will be here for you. And that's just a little tour, a peek inside the Pouring Studio membership. So let me go back here and stop sharing my screen. And all right. And let's see here. So, and by the way, and then I mentioned this earlier, but the Pouring Studio is open right now. It will be open till through next week, and it will be closing on April 30th, Saturday, April the 30th. So you have plenty of time to check it out, look and see what you think about it. I'm going to share the link with you right now. First of all, I've got to sign out of my account. Here we go. I'm going to put the link down in the comments, and you can go check it out. I'm still kind of tweaking with the sales page a little bit, the sign up page. So it might change like a little bit, but most of everything is there for you. It has a list of everything that's included in the Pouring Studio membership, and then all of the 4 great bonuses that I'm including that number 4 bonus, the mega bonus, which is every course I create in the future is going to be included for free in your membership, as long as you remain a member in good standing of the Pouring Studio. So, all right. So I'm just going to check and see if there were any questions, because I couldn't see any comments while I was showing you the studio there. Okay, let me see here. I'm just going to give a quick check, see if there are any questions that I might have missed. And welcome everyone who's joined us. Sorry if you had trouble with the links, because I kind of messed them up. So sorry about that. But I'm glad you were able to find us and join our live stream here on Friday. And Lori is asking, how much did we miss? Not much. So I kind of just talked about what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be doing 2 paint pouring demos for you. One is going to be a ribbon pour with using bright colors. One is going to be a straight pour using more neutralized colors. And then I just walked you through kind of give you a little behind the scenes tour of the membership and what's included. So you didn't miss anything yet. So, all right. And thanks for all the great comments, everyone. I appreciate that. And Lori is asking, will you have to watch the replay? I don't think so. You can if you want. But let's see here. And then Sharon is asking, is this the members page you were discussing? Yes, that was the membership, the Pouring Studio membership. So that was just a kind of quick tour kind of through the components of the membership, kind of where everything is. I didn't like look into all the content, but I gave you a kind of an overview of everything that's in there and kind of showed you around a little bit. So that is the membership. And then I put the link in the chat if you want to go check it out and see what's included. I'd recommend doing that after we're done here, so you can watch the demos. So, but I just want to give you a little idea of what's in there. And I'll be talking about this a whole lot more all through the weekend and all next week. So if you have any questions, there'll be plenty of opportunity to ask me anything you want about the membership, what's included, or anything like that. So there'll be plenty of time to talk about it. And yes, the Facebook link is not working because I messed it up. So I'm sorry about that. So we're only watching on YouTube today because Facebook doesn't allow you to change a link at the last minute, which kind of is a big bummer. But so sorry about that. It's my fault for messing up that link. So, all right. Cool. All right. So I don't see any other questions at the moment, but if you have questions that arise, feel free to put them in the chat and I will get to them as soon as I can. And so, all right here. Okay, so let's do some painting, right? Let's get into some painting stuff. I'm going to just move this aside. This is my keyboard. And let's see, I got to add this to the stream. Go back here. So let's talk about ribbon pours. And Monique's all about it. Let's paint. Yes. So I'm going to move that aside. I'm going to be working on a 12x16. This is the first demo, just a canvas. And I've got it all prepped and ready to go. I might have my little hooks on the bottom. I taped the bottom off. And I'm going to be using all leftover paints for both of these paintings. So I have a lot of them laying around. So I thought it'd be a good idea to use some of them up. And I like to kind of group them into similar like color palettes. Like I have some bright colors that I'll be using together, some neutral colors, I'll be using those together. And since I'm using leftover paints, I thought I'd use some leftover gloves too. So I put my gloves on here. And I'll show you the colors once again. I showed them at the very beginning, but I'll show you again. So let me flip the camera and I will, we'll get going. So here's my canvas. It's all ready to go. I've also spritzed the back. It's just spritz the back with a little bit of water to tighten it up a little bit. It's nice and tight. And so here are the paints I'll be using for this demo. This is the bright aqua green we mixed up yesterday in the consistency video. Here is an orange. This is kind of I combined two colors. I combined a really bright orange and a bright yellow. So we have kind of a yellowy orange. I have a kind of a coppery orange color here. That's also kind of a mixture of copper, and I think there might be a little bit of red and a little bit of orange in there too. I can't remember. I like to combine colors a lot. And then here is I love this color. This is pretty much a straight cobalt, metallic cobalt blue from Artist Loft. It's a beautiful color, and I use that all the time. It's kind of a dark color. And then here is some gold. This is just kind of straight, regular gold paint. So kind of a bright, a much brighter color palette than I normally work with. So, but I like the bright colors too. And then for a base coat, I did mix up a custom color for a base coat. It's basically white. It looks white, but it's white and it has a little bit of silver and a little bit of gold in there. So it's a very warm gray color. So I wanted kind of a little more neutralized background for all these bright colors. I didn't want a really bright white. I wanted something a little off-white. So that's what we're going to be working with. And I'm going to be using small cups, like these cups here, these little Dixie cups, to layer my paints in. And then we're going to be pouring ribbons on our canvas right on top of our base coat. So let's get started. And this is a direct pour technique. It's one of the three, at least I categorize it as a direct pour. I like to combine 3 different direct pour techniques together a lot to create some very interesting paintings. So this is one of them. And you can use them all separately if you want, but they're really fun to combine all together. So I'm going to pour on some base coat first. And these are all mixed to the same consistency, that standard consistency I showed you yesterday. And these are all the easy formula. So just 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, and a little bit of water. And I have this tool that I discovered. It's an old tool that I use for vinyl signs. So I thought, why not give it a shot on spreading my base coat out? So I just wanted to see if it would work. And so far, it works pretty good. So I normally use my palette knife, but I thought I'd give this a shot today. So I want to spread this base coat a tiny bit thicker than I would a normal base coat for like our straight pour or ring pour or flip cup, just because there's going to be some negative space in this painting. And I want a little bit thicker layer of paint down on the canvas. And it's actually pretty nice working with this kind of large spreader thing here. Cool. All right. So now I got a bunch of paint on there. I'm going to just try to scrape it back in my cup. Cool. All right. So let's set that aside. That worked pretty nicely. And let me see here. And I got a question from Warren. It's a pretty good question. He's saying, I have watched many pour and then blow with a hairdryer, but I've never seen anyone use high pressure, fine airbrush compressor equipment. Have you? I have. I've tried it out. And I know a lot of people use an airbrush to do very detailed work. But you really need the the hair dryer to move a lot of paint around. The airbrush is great for fine details, but it doesn't have enough power to just really blow a lot of paint around. I do know of, I mean, they make like spray guns, air guns that blow high volume of paint, but it's way too much. So it's either not enough or too much. The hair dryer really works the best for like the Dutch pour technique. You know, the hair dryer, the blowout pours. But the airbrushes can work nicely for fine detailed little areas within your painting. So, and it blooms as well. You could use airbrushes for blooms, modifying the blooms. But yeah, they just don't have enough pressure to really blow around the paint. Great question though, Warren. All right. And cool. Okay, so that was a good question. Let me, and so you can now kind of see that this is an off-white color, it's kind of an oyster color, I'd say. So white, silver, and a little gold in there. It'll also be a little bit sparkly, which is kind of cool. So I've got my torch. I've got some air bubbles in here. We can pop some bubbles if you want. I like to do that. Cool, just like that. And let's layer one of our cups and do a ribbon pour. So I've got all these colors. I'm just going to kind of randomly pour them in there. I'm not going to think too much about it, other than maybe a dark and a light and a dark and a light. So I got that blue, and then I got that copper, maybe a little bit of this green, maybe some of this gold. And we could also, I'm going to do this too. I'm going to take some of our base coat and pour it in a cup. And then I might use a little bit of our base coat color in there as well. I like to incorporate the base coat colors into my layered cup whenever I'm doing negative space type of pours. So, and then, oh, we were missing what? Yellow. Let's put a little yellow in there. There we go. So we've got, this is about half full, so it's about 1.5 ounces. And let's pour it out. So I'm just going to move the cup around kind of in an interesting way. And then the little drips that are left, you can kind of go back over your ribbon that you just poured. I like to kind of enhance these larger areas. So things like that, I like that. So those will kind of stretch out as we move this. And Lorna is asking, here's a pretty good question. Can I use a heat gun instead of a blowtorch? Yes, you can. A heat gun will work, although it's a little harder to pop the air bubbles. The only reason is it takes a little bit of time to heat up, to pop the bubbles. And then you have this really hot heat gun sitting there. So it's a little more dangerous than a torch. But if you wanted to give it a shot, absolutely, it'll work. The torches are very inexpensive and super convenient. So you might want to pick one up down the road. You don't need to start with one though. So good question, Lorna. So here we go. We've got an interesting ribbon. And what I like to do is go ahead and just tilt a little bit whenever I pour one on my canvas. Just change it around. Alter it. And then we're going to pour another one. And there we go. I think I need to add a little more paint right here. I'm seeing some of my canvas. So that is one of the drawbacks of that tool I used, but that's okay. I can touch it up with my palette knife. Maybe a little over here too. All right. Okay, back to the ribbons. I'm going to maybe turn this now. And I like to pour ribbons from different angles and different sides. So let's do another one. We could even use the same exact cup if you want to. Let's give it a shot. I'm going to put some green in first. Then maybe some of this bright yellow. Then maybe a little of our base coat color. The dark blue. Oops, I got a little drip. That's okay. And a little gold. Okay, so let's pour out of, so we layered on this side. I'm going to pour out of the other side on this one. I poured out of the layered side on the first one. So let's see. Let's start down here maybe. And I like to run through, you know, the other ribbons as well. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to see if I have any paint left in here and just trace it around this gold. There we go. That's interesting. It's funky. Let's give it a tilt and just see what we get. So I always like to alter, tilt, change it around. This is kind of a process. We're kind of working in, you know, layers. I might pour some paint off of the canvas. Something like that. Maybe I'll tilt it back the other way. And we can get cells and lacing and things happening with this technique. So there we go. I'm just bringing it, kind of moving the paint around. It's looking interesting and kind of weird. I don't want to go nuts here with the tilting at this stage. We have some more work to do. We can do. But I'm just seeing something I want to try to play around with, and I'll point that out. I have a lot of paint right here that's doing some interesting things, creating some cool shapes. So I want to kind of take advantage of that and just kind of move it around. Okay, so there we go. Let me turn it this way. Maybe I'll leave it like that for now and do another ribbon on top. Now you can take this as far as you want to go. We've poured 2 already, and we've got most of the canvas covered. We've got small spots of negative space, which I kind of like. We could also add some more negative space, though, if we wanted to. I think I might try it. And I'm just going to I got my little cup of paint. I'm just going to pour like a ribbon of our negative space and just see what happens here. I'm kind of just doing it randomly. Oops, there we go. Now I'm going to tilt that around and, you know, stretch that out so it doesn't look so like, you know, we just poured a big ribbon of paint on there. So I'm not really thinking about composition or anything like that. I'm just looking for interesting shapes. I just want interesting shapes that are happening kind of throughout the painting. So I don't have a plan at all. I'm just, you know, basically just having fun pouring paint around. And I might pour a little more off the canvas. Maybe I'll go back this way. Okay, so there we go. It's a weird painting, right? It's like a crazy looking technique, but I really like what's happening. This is a kind of a wild color scheme, all these bright colors. We got these pops of bright orange, which don't necessarily go great with some of these other colors, but I love these interesting shapes we have now cut out. So we kind of recreated some very interesting negative space. So let's see here. Now let's see what we want to do. We want to do another ribbon or just leave it alone. I'm thinking, I'm looking at it in the camera. I quite like it the way it is, actually. Maybe, let's see, what do we want to do? It's pretty busy already. I'm going to just see if I can stretch a little paint off the edge, this lower edge here. And maybe we'll just kind of work with what we've got. And I'll show you maybe a couple other things too. Because one thing we don't have is a lot of color on the edges or corners. So I might want to I'm going to just take and pour a little like flow extender, kind of like this, and just bring some of this color over down the corner. So now I'm thinking a little more tactically, I guess you could say. Kind of thinking about the composition a little bit more. Okay, I like that. Let me go back. And every time we tilt, we're changing the way everything kind of looks. And so it's kind of it's always in limbo until we're done with it. But okay, I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to show you a couple other things you could do with this technique. So we've poured some ribbons. I think you kind of get the idea. We even poured like a negative space ribbon, which creates a whole lot more interest. And I just love the shapes it can create within the colors. But let me grab some tools and I'll show you what else you could do. So here are some combs. I've shown these before. These are Pozzolan combs. I think they're men's combs, actually. I don't have enough hair for them, but I wish I did. But they have all kinds of interesting shapes and different sized tongs and big ones and little ones. So, but they're fun to create interesting textures and manipulate your paints. So the one I like to use a lot is this one. So we can go in here and drag through here and it'll create some interest. And of course, you don't have to do this. This is just an option you have. It's just a way to change your paintings up, add a little more interesting effects. I'll do one with the 3 tongs. And you can do it 2 ways. You can pull the color into your base coat if you want, or you could pull the base coat into your color, which is often very fun. I'll do that right here. Just part way in right there. And Mina uses these a lot. Mina Villegas, she uses these combs all the time, and they're very cool. You could go nuts with the combs. I like to try to create some interest, and then, but not too much, not so it's everywhere. One of my mentors told me, he's a watercolor painter. He's a fantastic landscape painter or urban landscape painter and an abstract painter. He said, if you're having too much fun, you better stop. So these are a lot of fun. So you want to be careful with them so you don't do them everywhere. But let's see here. One more, I think, we've created this one with the kind of into the blue here. I'm going to use that one more time. And then maybe we'll be done. I'll pull some of the white into our, into the green. And Linda is asking where she can buy the combs. You can get these on Amazon. I got them on Amazon. They're in my Amazon store if you want to check them out. And it's a great set. It's not very expensive. It's like, I think $9, something like that. So, and someone's asking about the upper corner, can you do anything with that corner upper right? It looks kind of muddy. Let's see here. So this corner, this is my right. And, or you're talking about this corner. Either one, we're going to tilt a little bit more. I could pull some of this paint off the corner, which would help, I think. So let's see. So after I do some of this stuff, now you can choose if you use the combs or any other tool. I'll show you one more type of a tool that you might want to try. Now you might have seen the marble roll, and that's a fun thing to do as well. I'm not going to throw a marble on here right now, but the marble roll is really fun technique. But I have this set, and it's like a ceramic set for dotting tools, making shapes. And they have these ball bearings on the end of these sticks, and they have big ones and little ones, and they've got some very, very small ones like this, like really, really tiny points. But I like to use some of these medium-sized ones, and you can kind of use these like a marble roll, but you have a little more control. So you can kind of hold it gently and kind of pull it through your paint, and it will alter the shape, similar to like what the marble would do. I like to do that a lot. And then Shannon is asking, if you used a black base, would it be muddy? Not necessarily. I don't think so. Because all these colors are sitting on top of the black. And then we put more, and if you want to do that negative space through the top, that's kind of sitting on top of the colors. I don't think you get a muddy painting necessarily, unless you did lots and lots of tilting. But that's a good question. You could do a dark base coat too. And All right, so I've done some things. You could leave those things alone, untouched. I usually like to tilt a little more and change the way they look and just alter the lines. So I'm going to tilt a little bit more here. And just change things a little bit. So now you can see in here, we had those very perfect looking comb marks. Well, now they're altered and more undulating and a little more organic. I really like the way that looks when you tilt. So you get a little bit of distortion and they don't look so perfect. These in particular look really nice. They have like these little wiggles in them. So I always like to tilt a little bit if I do some of that manipulation stuff. So so yeah, it's kind of this is kind of a weird painting. It's a kind of bright and crazy. We got some cells happening in here and a little bit of lacing. And I did a bunch of stuff, to it just to show you what's possible. And you could take this further if you wanted to. Maybe I'll tilt a little bit more. And then I think we'll be kind of done with this one. So, but there's a lot of possibilities with this particular technique. You can really play around with it a lot and get some very cool looking paintings. So, and let's see here. The paint is wanting to it's slowing down and doesn't want to stretch as much now. So I think we're almost to the end of our working time. And that has to do with, I put on a fairly thin base coat. So if you want to extend your working time, you could put on a little thicker base coat and that'll keep everything wetter longer. And you'll have more time to tilt and work with your paint. So okay. So here we go. I think I tilted off of that corner. I always like to tilt back again. So there we go. I think we'll call that one complete for this one, for this particular painting. It reminds me of I don't know, it's a weird looking painting. I do like this area right here though, with the combs. That area and this area. So let's see here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to flip back now. It's all right. So that's basically what a ribbon pour is looking like. And you could pour more ribbons. You could do more tilting or less tilting, more manipulation, less manipulation. It's a very versatile technique. There's endless possibilities with it, but it's a very fun one to play around with. I really like it a lot. And so just let your imagination run wild with you with that technique. Let's see here. So I'm going to just check and see if there are any questions that I might have missed. Let's see. So, well, thanks for all the great comments. I'm glad you are enjoying that. Let's see here. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Oh, here, Linda's got a question. Linda's asking, I like to pour tile coasters. What paint ratio would you recommend? I did 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol with a touch of water. Is that right? Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. There's a lot of different recipes you could use. A lot of it depends on the technique you're working with, but standard techniques like what we're doing here, that would be fine. That's a great ratio. And I use it probably more than any other formula, is the 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, and then a little bit of water. So that would work great. Okay. Okay, let's see, is there anything? Lori has got to run. Thanks for joining us, Lori. I appreciate it. And let's see here. I am going to, all right, I don't see any more questions right now. So I'm going to flip back here and move this painting out of the way and get our other canvas ready to go. And we'll do a little more traditional pour. We'll do a straight pour. So let me quickly button these up. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for all the fiddling. I had to move a bunch of stuff. I had to readjust the camera. So hopefully you're all there with me again. Let's take a look at what we're going to do with this painting. So this is a 16 by 20. It's one of my panels that I make, and I love pouring on them. They're custom made. So it's a birch panel, and I taped the back. I have my little hooks on it. And so we'll paint on this, and then I've primed it and gessoed it. So it is all ready to go. So let's take a look at the colors we're going to be using. I'll bring them over here. I've got a whole bunch of them. I don't know if I'll use all of them, but I just pulled them all out because they all kind of fit together in what I was going for, more of a neutralized color scheme. This color right here happens to be, there's cloud mixture in this one. So we might get some cloudy effects, perhaps. This is like a champagne-ish color. This is gold and silver mixed together. And here's another like champagne color. There's more silver in this one than gold, but it's basically the same thing. I've got this is like a dark coppery, copper and bronze mixture. It's a very rich color. I like that one a lot. This is a little bit of dioxazine purple and black in here, so it's a very deep purple color. And then here is this is more of a bronze. There's some bronze and some black, a couple different things mixed in here, but it's kind of a bronzy black color. And this one is there's a bunch of stuff in here, some purple and some yellow and some gold, I think. Just like this is all kind of leftover drippings from some other paintings, and I'll put them all together, mix them all up, and you get these beautiful, like crazy neutralized colors. And I just love this particular one. So I thought I'd use that as well. This is more of a standard, more of a bluish gray color. There's a few different things in here though, but they all kind of fit in the same, color palette. They're all very neutralized colors. There's no bright colors. I do have a variation of values. So I have light values right in here. I've got a couple mid values in here and then some dark values over here. So I got pretty much everything I like, especially value-wise. I've got lights and mid values and darks. I love to work with neutralized colors. I've got some warms and cools. So these are warm colors right in here. And we've got cool colors right there. And so that is pretty much what we're going to be using. I don't know. Again, I don't know if I'll use all of these colors. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really thinking too far in advance with this. I'm just kind of playing with my leftover paints. This seemed like a fun palette to work with. So I've got some more base coat right here. I'm going to use this for our panel. And so I'm going to fill up this cup. This is a 12-ounce cup. And for a 16 by 20, we need 10 ounces for a straight pour or a ring pour. So I'll layer this cup up with our colors. We'll spread on our base coat, and then we'll see what happens. I'm excited. So I have this right here. I'm going to just set this down. I'll layer my cup first, and then I'll spread out my base coat. And let's see. I think I'll start with our lightest color, which has some of the cloud mixture in it. So that should be in the center of our straight pour. And then I'll just kind of randomly choose other colors. I kind of like this. I really like this kind of pinkish purple a lot. I want to use some of that. I want to go with a darker color, maybe this dark purple and black. I want to get some more of the lights in there. Maybe a little of the blue. What else? Maybe some of this copper. I think that's a cool color. Then I think I'll also put a tiny bit of our base coat color in there as well. Now, I probably won't leave any negative space in this painting, but you never know. But I like to have a couple different light colors. Maybe I'll go with a tiny bit of this dark bronze. And again, these paints are all mixed the same. The standard consistency. It's the easy formula, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint. And let's see here. Maybe I'll go back to our dark. And what else? I'll pour a touch of our lightest color in there. Maybe a little more of this cool pink. So this is really a hodgepodge of various colors. But if they all go together, then you should be okay. Maybe a little more of that. And I'm almost at my 10 ounces. maybe I'll end it with maybe some more of this gold. There we go. And that is it. So we've got our cup all full. It's layered. These are all floating layers on top of each other. I usually do floating layers with a straight pour and a ring pour. So I'm going to move this aside for the moment. And let's see, I'm going to move some of these paints. So we did kind of use all these paints, I guess. I'm glad I had them out. Now, you don't have to use this many colors in your paintings. In one of our earlier meetings, I said between 3 and 6 colors is about as many as I use. Well, I use more than that here, but again, these are all leftover paints. I didn't mix them up just for this painting. So normally I keep it between 3 and 6. This is an exception, kind of. So, but you don't have to have all of these different colors. So here we go. I'm gonna pour on my base coat. I might use a couple of these other colors for some extra base coat if I need it. I'm going to go back to my knife. I'm more comfortable with my knife. There we go. Let's see what we got. So I'm just spreading this out. Again, this is a very thin base coat. It's not like a flood coat. I don't want that. I don't want that much paint on my panel or canvas. So I'm just spreading it out in a relatively thin coat. I just want to cover the canvas and not have any bare spots showing through. And the reason for this is it just makes the tilting part a whole lot easier. The paint just slides over a base coat much easier than a bare canvas, a raw canvas with no paint on it. And let's see. And it's looking good. We're almost there. And I have some air bubbles, but I can pop those with my torch. There we go. So I'll move that aside and then I'll grab my torch quick. And let's pop a couple air bubbles. And very quick once over with the torch is what I want. There we go. All right. So we're ready to go. We've got our base coat on. We've got our cup layered. And we have one more decision to make. And I talk about this all the time. We can either pour from our layered side. I layered all the paints over here. And this is the opposite side we can pour from. And I pour from both. I like both sides, but more often than not, I enjoy the results pouring from the opposite side that I layer from. So I think I'll pour from this side. And I'm going to pour right in the center here in a very thin stream and probably vary the height maybe just a little bit, but let's give it a shot. So this is a straight pour again. And you can turn your cup slightly if you want. You can vary the speed, and I'm kind of going crazy here with my cup. You can vary the speed your paint comes out. It's going a little too fast for me. I'll slow it down a little bit. You can vary the height. And the higher you bring your cup, the more mixing you'll get with your paints. The lower you take your cup, down to the canvas, the less mixing you'll get. So we've got about 3/4 of the cup out, and now comes kind of the important part, and this will form the center of our straight pour. And here comes that first color that we put in right at the beginning. And I'm right at the end of the cup, so I'm just going to tilt the cup back. When you reach the end, tilt the cup back, and then you can more easily grab that last drop so it doesn't like drop right into your puddle. And there we go. So we've got a nice looking paint puddle. So then we've got like a little center here with our cloud. There was some cloud mix in there. It wasn't pure cloud mix, but there was some in there. And looks like we have some cloudy things happening. So it'll be fun to tilt this one out and see what we get. So I'm going to move some of my stuff off. Okay, so now it comes time for the tilting part. And this is usually the most fun part. And I'll walk you through my tilting process. It's a 3-step process, and it's pretty simple. So the first thing I'm going to do, I will just expand. I'm just going to expand my paint puddle to cover more of the canvas. So, and I will just do that slowly. I'm going to take my time, and we're just going to move the paint around here. And the only thing I don't want to do at this point is go off the edges or the sides. I want to wait with that until later. So, and then I always like to turn my canvas or my panel and get a better grip. So I do this all the time. And I'm still just going to expand my paint puddle here. So that's looking pretty good. We've covered the bulk of our panel, and we've got a ton of darks all over here, and all of our lights seem to be up in this corner over here. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe turn this and pour off of these 2 corners first. Maybe I'll do this one first. I'll turn it this way. Yeah, and you can pick any corner you want, but I'm picking these 2 first just because we have so many darks down here, and then it seems all the fun stuff is up here. So let's move our paint down. Maybe I'll go off of the opposite corner. Gonna move it down to this one. And I like to pour towards me always. And I like to use my fingers down here to kind of manipulate the paint, move it a little bit. And especially on this very tip of the corner, I use my fingers to cover that corner up. And you can even use your fingers to pull the paint down any bare spots. So there's one. I'm going to go do this other one over here. We're getting a lot of crazy looking rings, which is kind of cool. So here we go. We're going to cover this corner now. And then tilt back into the canvas a little bit. And I'll just set it down and see what we got. So we got two down here. And let's see. I'm just taking a look at it, seeing what I want to do. And I really like this corner a lot. That's kind of my favorite one. So I think I'll wait till last for this one. And I'll go to this corner next. So let me turn the panel. And we're just going to bring the paint back down here. And as we stretch out the rings, we're expanding them out and we get a lot more interesting things happening. I really like to stretch the rings out a lot. And I'm going to pour a little more off of this corner. And I might even pour a tiny bit of the center off as well, and then go back. There we go. So we're getting kind of a, we're not keeping our rings super round. They're getting kind of distorted a little bit. Part of that is because I'm using all leftover paints. And, some of them are slightly thicker, slightly thinner than others. Some of them have been sitting for a while. But they're doing some cool things. So we're getting a lot of interesting lines and waviness and stuff. I kind of like that. So we've got one corner left, and let's tilt it off and see what we get. And that'll complete phase 2 of our tilting process. And I kind of want to save a lot of that gold, but I don't know if we'll be able to. One thing we can do, if we want to save some of it, I should have done this maybe 5 seconds earlier. We could put a little more gold in here, like a flow extender, just to help pull a little less paint over the edges. And there we go. So I'm not going to just tilt back. All right, so we've covered the whole canvas. And we've completed phase 2. Now the phase 3 is, we're just going to see if there's anything else we want to change. And we can do some modification, some slight tilting. We can take some more paint off, change the composition slightly. And this is kind of where you're thinking more about the composition, your end result. And I'll tell you what I'm seeing in this one. And I like some of this blue we have over here, but it's very stretched and compacted in this corner. So I think I'm going to stretch the white, our center, over this corner and expand that. It'll also take all this interesting stuff kind of out of the center of our composition and move it over towards this side a little bit more. So I'm going to try that one first and see what happens. So I'm just going to lift it straight up towards me a little bit and then maybe slightly angled. Okay, so we've kind of made this corner a white corner now. So I'm going to tilt kind of back into the painting. All right, so I like that. I think that looks pretty cool. It's much better than it was before. So is there anything else that we want to do? And we're getting some kind of weirdness right here, these kind of long stretchy lines. I might want to pour a little bit of those down the side just to kind of straighten things out a little. Kind of like that. So let's see here. Let me turn it around again and I'll take another look. And so I'm just looking at it in the screen. It gives me another kind of perspective. And I really like what we have right down here, but it's kind of like cut off, like right in the center. It's like a center line, kind of right down our painting. And so we have all of this cool white stuff down here, but then up here, it's kind of all dark and kind of, you know, we got the weird lines and everything happening. So I think I want to kind of shift. What I'm going to attempt to do is shift some of this white up and then over and pour some of this off up here. So that's what I'm thinking anyway. And in order to do that, I'm just going to turn it towards me and then just kind of tilt off in this direction. And every painting is different at this stage. They all require a little something different. And sometimes they happen really quick and they look great right away and you don't have to do much. Sometimes they require a little more, you know, a little more tilting, a little more patience, and a little more tweaking. This one's kind of taken a lot of tweaking. So I'm going to pour a lot of this stuff off the corner, and I think it's going to really help everything. Okay, so let's take a look now. So I'm just going to move the paint. We tilted a bunch of it off. I just want to recenter it a little bit. So there we go. I think that is a much more interesting painting. So we've gotten rid of that kind of center line, and now we've expanded the paint much more into this diagonal composition, which I like quite a lot. And I think I might just leave it right there. Call that one completed. All right, so that is a straight pour with some cloudy stuff in it with a lot of leftover paints that are all neutralized. So that's what you get. So that's kind of a fun painting. I like it. I like the center. I like all this weird white stuff we got going. It's a little bit cloudy, and I really like these very sharp kind of jaggedy lines, these dark ones. So interesting painting. It's a very interesting one. So I'm going to flip back here. And see if you have any questions about the demos or the membership or anything else before we wrap up tonight. And Linda's asking a good question. And she's asking, is that the question? I don't think that was the question. It was something, I think she asked about if I stand or sit. Where was that? Oh, here it is. The wrong one. Do I stand or sit? I sit a lot, but sometimes I will stand to tilt. So like when I'm sitting, and I will expand my paint puddle sitting, but it's a combination of the two. It also depends on the size of the canvas. For this one, I was sitting and standing for a couple of different parts. So it's always a combo, usually. All right. Let's see here. And JC is saying I have a whole lot of patience when I'm pouring. Yeah, patience is a good thing to have with this style of painting, especially the tilting part. I think a lot of people rush it. They just want to get it over with quick. But patience is really a virtue when you're doing the tilting process, because it gives you, you don't have to rush through any of it. So yeah, patience is a great attribute to have. All right, so if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I'm just checking to see if there were any that came in while I was tilting around on that painting. Let's see here. And Jay is asking about my panels from earlier. And yeah, I get large panels and I cut them down. I get lumber and I size it and sand it, and it's a whole big process. So it's, but I have the equipment and the capabilities to do it. And so I really enjoy making panels and pouring on them. But I'll be showing you how to make variations of panels that you can pour on, a couple different styles in that course I'll be coming out with. And that should be pretty fun. So you could try it yourself if you want to. And all right. And Irma is asking, what type of sealer do I use? Well, there's a sealer for my panels, and then there's, and that is a specific product. I use it's a gloss varnish and medium by Nova Color, but any kind of gloss acrylic medium will work, like a gel medium. You want it something kind of creamy. Gloss medium is the best thing to use. Liquitex makes one, Golden makes one. They work great, and I apply 2 coats of that to my raw wooden panels, and let that dry. Of course, dry in between those, and then gesso on top of that. 2 coats of gesso at least, and that has how you properly seal and then gesso your panels. It's a very important process. But that's the sealer I use for my wooden panels. All right, let's see here. And all right, Susan's asking, where do we, as a group, go from here? Well, we could go out for pizza if you want. That's up to you. It's the weekend, right? It's Friday. So, but if you're interested in joining our group, our paint pouring membership, the Pouring Studio, you can go check it out over at my sign up page. And I'll put that in the chat one more time. And let's see here. So there is the link to go check out the Pouring Studio. And we do a different technique every single month, and there are some amazing bonuses in there as well that you'll have access to. So check that out. I will be talking about this all throughout the weekend and through next week. So if you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me and ask me. So everyone's in for pizza. All right. What do you like best? Pepperoni? I like pepperoni a lot. So cool. Let's see. And then Sharon is asking, or Everett is asking, is the sealer put on the back of the wood panels? I personally put the sealer on the entire panel. I put it on the top, the sides, the back. It's not absolutely necessary though. Only the part that's really going to be poured on, you need the sealer on it. So, but if you're just pouring on a thin panel and it's not cradled, it doesn't have a wooden frame underneath it, I suggest sealing the back as well, just so your panel does not do any kind of weird warping. Sealing it on both sides will keep it flat. So that's a great question though, Everett. And Sharon is asking, would you use 2 coats of gesso on wooden coasters? Absolutely. Well, it depends. I would definitely seal them. Any kind of raw wood, you want to seal it for sure. So you want at least 2 coats of a gloss acrylic medium on both sides of a coaster. And you could pour right on top of that, but I would recommend putting 2 coats of gesso on as well. And we need to seal the wood because if you pour on paint, especially in paint pouring, we're dumping on a ton of liquid, and that paint will seep into the wood, and things from the wood will seep up into the paint, and it'll discolor your paint. So it's known as SID, which is surface-induced discoloration. And I know a lot of people don't seal their panels; they just pour right on there, but they're asking for trouble, in my opinion. So it's worth the effort to seal them. All right. And Susan is asking, what is May's technique? We're doing the string pull and chain pull technique. And it's a fun one. It's a bit different than all of the other techniques we've worked on because we're not really pouring paint. We're dragging paint with string and chain. But you can get some very cool effects. There's a couple different ways to do it. And I'll show you a bunch of different methods. So it does take a little bit of practice, but it's a really, really fun technique. I think you're going to love it. So, and if you're joining us in the membership, that'll be the first technique you'll learn from in the pouring studio, which is cool. And of course, there are all those other techniques in there as well that you can go check out and look at. So, all right. And JC is saying that the chain pull is as hard as the Dutch pull. They both are challenging because it's not just pouring paint. You know, the Dutch pour, you have to manipulate a big blowing device and moving the paint around. And it's a similar thing with the string pull. You know, we're manipulating a string on our canvas. So yeah, they're both challenging, but they're both a whole lot of fun. So, all right. Cool. Well, that I think does it. I don't see any other questions. If you have any last minute questions, throw them down in the chat. But I think with that, I think we might call it an evening. And I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Come and visit me. I'll be doing lives same time all weekend long. And I'll send out some emails about those. I'll also email you with the replay links for all of the acrylic pouring extravaganza videos that we've done so far. So you can check them out if you want to watch anything again, or if you missed one, you can watch it. So thank you so much, everybody. I will talk to you very soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.